here this morning in Springbank Park in London, Ontario. We've picked another gorgeous day, and I'm here with Sarah Cowling. And Sarah has a special treat for us. She's going to be working on a collage. Are you into being an artist, or how did you find your creative self?
Where to start? When I was little, I liked to draw, particularly boats. I had a thing for boats. And we lived in the Niagara region, and we did eventually get a little boat and go sailing and stuff, and we had canoes. But I was terrible at it, I have to say. My boats were terrible. And of course, I had to pick square riggers, the hardest thing to do. Anyway, so that's where I sort of started messing around. And being in the Niagara region, being specifically down near Niagara-on-the-Lake, it's a huge Mennonite population. And when I went to high school, there was no visual art, but there was home ec. Yeah. And so you start sewing and knitting and doing all those things. And I did do quilting for a while, nothing serious or immense or anything special, but I did that. And of course, you go off to school and you get married and you have kids, and I taught school for a while. And when we came to London, almost 30 years ago now, I couldn't get into the teaching profession. So I started doing tours at Museum London for kids, because then I got to be with kids. And then I thought, gee, I really like this art stuff. I should mention that my mother painted, not a lot, and not much when we were small. She did it more when she was in school, and was very keen on us going to museums and art galleries. It was a big function of our life. So my kids are starting to grow up, and I'm doing these tours, and I'm really liking what I'm doing, and I'm thinking, gee, I would really like to try this. So I went and took a couple of, local classes, local things that are, your PUC or whatever. And just kept taking things, and went to Halliburton a couple of times to the School of Art. Took a couple of continuing ed things. We have Western here and Fanshawe College, so we've got lots of choice. Joined some art groups, and it snowballed. And now I'm part of the London Artist Studio Tour every year. Great tour. It'll be in October this year due to COVID, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have a tour. And I come out with the gallery painting group to paint, and I belong to some other groups too. Yeah, so there it is. Yeah.
Were there any specific barriers or challenges that you had to overcome?
I think that when you are first starting out, especially as a woman with children, the biggest barrier is finding the time and the space. Because women share a lot. You share your space a lot. And, fortunately, my kids were really good. They would leave me alone. So that was nice. One year I did have a moment. And we had a shed in the backyard. It was meant to be a change room, sort of, or a playroom for the kids. And I moved my stuff out there, and I said, if you're not bleeding, there's no broken bones, it's not a fire, don't bother me. Yeah. And I actually had 6 kids in the house at that point. I had my 3, 2 cousins from France, and a Spanish student. So it was really necessary at that point to focus on my space. And they were pretty good. All of them. Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. And I would say now, today, my biggest problem is, especially with collage, getting people to take me seriously. And I mean galleries and curators, and because it's not looked upon as a high art. I think one really lucky thing for the digital artists is they have had David Hockney, and he has shone a light on it and given it something that it wouldn't have had otherwise.
So during your journey, you must have picked up some tips and tricks that you can pass on to other emerging artists of all ages.
I think the most important thing, whether you want to paint or do pastels or do collage like I do, or whatever your interest is, do what you really like and do the themes that you really like. Don't do street scenes because that's selling in your area or something like that. Try to do something that really means something to you, you know, and then put your own twist on it. For instance, I'm pretending those are the houses in the distance, you know, and somebody could argue with me. A realist painter would argue, but that's not what I see, and I don't really care what they see. It's about me, not about them. Yeah. You stay true to what you want to do, because otherwise you'll hate it, and you'll hate every minute you're doing it. And that's an important thing. Like you're going to do this for a long time. And I also find like a lot of the galleries and stuff, they've got a focus, and that's what they want to go for. And even the jury shows, they've already decided this is what we're doing. I've done way better selling out of my studio on a studio tour than even the groups I'm in. They have group shows, and I find that one of the problems with that is like 800 paintings on the wall, and yours are lost in the mix. Whereas if they come to the studio and I can talk about it, get them excited about it, get them excited about the process. And I'm very much about the process. I'm very interested in how I do it and why I do it and looking for new ways to do it. And that sells people, you know?
And I'm sure this is an obvious question, but the pandemic has definitely affected how we present our work to the public. And what kind of things have you been able to do to make that change?
Okay, all the groups I belong to, and I belong to 4 different groups, have had online website sort of places. Some people have sold that way, but not hugely. Like one over a year. That's not huge. I sold one, but I sold it to a woman who'd been to my studio on the tour, went back to the website and came to me saying, I really want that one you have on the website.
Yeah, I find that too. It's surprising. And I think for me, it's because this is my 3rd year as an emerging artist. So basically half the time I've been in COVID. But there has been a little bit of growth in what I'm selling. But I think that's just momentum because of being an emerging artist. And I think without COVID, it probably would have been a little better.
I think so too. Yeah. Because without COVID, we would have been in contact with people. We would have been doing other types of shows, maybe somewhere like in a park like this or something. Who knows? And I even found that the local galleries here, they really slowed down on what they did. And they got even more wanting what's safe, what's popular, what's selling, you know. I'm only going for that. I'm not taking a chance.
So what would you say was your proudest moment or achievement so far?
Proudest moment or achievement? I think when I did sort of settle into the collage and I realized that was something I really, really liked to do and that people actually were interested. That was a big thing. Getting on the studio tour was a big thing for me because that was a whole lot of attention that I hadn't been getting before. And it was really gratifying the first time I did it on my own, because we do a guest artist thing, you know, for people who are unsure whether they want to get into it or not. Over the weekend, I had over 300 people visit me. And I thought, oh my God, people do like this stuff. You know? Yeah.
Is your present day art practice, does it look any different than?
It's better. It's better. I think I have more tricks up my sleeve, shall we say. I have to say, over COVID, my painting improved a lot. Because what else did I have to do except go downstairs and paint? And my husband was working from home, so I couldn't really natter in his ear because there I was, right? And I actually found YouTube and found out all the artists who were painting on YouTube, and it was inspiring, and it was good ideas. It was something I hadn't thought about trying, so that was really pretty fantastic. Yeah.
So where do you hope to see yourself in 10 years from now? I know 10 years is a long way out.
That's a good question. I hope to continue to grow so that I'm just not doing the same old, same old, same old all the time. I'd like to see more recognition for what I'm doing, and that isn't necessarily sales, but more that people are commenting and paying attention and coming to look at it. Yeah. And I guess that would be where I'd want to be. It'd be great if I were, you know, in a gallery in Toronto or New York or something. Wouldn't we all like that? Yeah. But I wouldn't plan on it. Yeah.
And any final tips and ideas for emerging artists that you'd like to express?
One thing I was thinking about was, and this has especially been made worse by our situation with COVID, but try to get to know some other artists who are doing what you're doing. And maybe that will be online if you can't manage any other way. But I would like to see you going out because we can get too isolated and we need to have that contact with other people, you know, and that will enrich your art to have that contact.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, maybe not even people making art, but maybe it's at an art gallery or it's an art walk or something like that, you know, that you're getting that contact. And I would say, don't be shy about showing your art either. And trying things. I'm actually going to be in Art Prize in Grand Rapids this fall. I'm really happy about that. This will be my second time out there. I may have to ship my art. It may cost me a bundle. But sometimes you have to take a chance. Yeah, there we go. And any other sage advice? Sage advice. Don't think you're too old or too young, too female, too anything. Even, and don't think, you know, I'm an immigrant or I'm this or I'm that. Don't worry about that. Just do what you do.
So I really want to thank you today, Sarah. This has been lovely being out here today.
Yeah, we had a great day to be in the park.
Yeah, watching you work and talking about art and artists. And I hope you enjoyed your time.
It was wonderful. I'm really glad you came out.
Thanks so much.
Okay.